What's up, everybody? Thanks again for stopping by as we cover some of this interesting news that is going to affect not just the cryptocurrency market, but the entire world on pretty much every single level. I first started actually using ChatGPT a couple of months ago when a friend told me about it, and I thought it was fascinating. I mainly used it and have used it for history stuff. I just ask it questions and I get it to I was curious about just how powerful it was, and I just get it to kind of respond to the questions I've asked. And it is very fascinating to see that kind of a tool just freely available to people. And I had my suspicions that eventually this would grow huge and possibly even become monetized, which actually does look like it's going to be the case in the near future. This article coming out of CNN Business: Microsoft confirms it's investing billions in the creator of ChatGPT. This article came out on Tuesday, January 24th. Microsoft on Monday confirmed it is making a multi-billion-dollar investment in OpenAI, the company behind the new viral AI chatbot tool called ChatGPT. This actually had a pretty much positive effect on some cryptocurrencies related to AI as well. They kind of saw like a minor little bit of a pump, which I'm sure will continue on as more and more news comes out and more people want to speculate on the potential of AI and cryptocurrency, because these kind of things go hand in hand. Microsoft, an early investor in OpenAI, said it plans to expand its existing partnership with the company as part of a greater effort to add more artificial intelligence to its suites of products. In a separate blog post, OpenAI said the multi-year investment will be used to develop AI that is increasingly safe, useful, and powerful. And that's interesting because it already is extremely powerful. It's something that I can vouch for just from using it. We formed our partnership with OpenAI around a shared ambition to advance cutting-edge AI research and democratize AI as a new technology platform. This is according to Satya Nadella, Microsoft's CEO, that said it in a statement. The deepening partnership between the two companies has the potential to supercharge OpenAI's ambitious projects, including ChatGPT, which has captured the attention of and sometimes sparked concerns from academics, business leaders, tech enthusiasts, with its ability to provide lengthy and thorough responses to its users' prompts and questions. I know that Jordan Peterson in another video was talking about this potential of this to destroy universities, and how it could also potentially create more faux intellects, people that appear to be smarter than they are, which is kind of something that's been happening with technology going all the way back. I think I can personally remember in math class when I was younger, we had to do all our own equations, show all our own work, and then as calculators were introduced more and more, these smarter and smarter calculators, people started to rely on those calculators more and more, and less on their ability to actually do the work themselves when it came to mathematics. So I think this goes hand in hand. I mean, if you can use a calculator to answer any kind of math question, I mean, who is the one that's smart? Is it you, or is it just your ability to utilize the technology around you? And this can be said for almost anything, but I do think that ChatGPT is kind of a culmination of things and will really open a lot of doors. Another YouTuber who I follow a business YouTuber was saying how this will give you the opportunity to potentially 100x your own potential. By saving a lot of time, a lot of effort. As I was saying, I use it for history queries a lot of the times, and if you were looking to write a script, if you were looking to even do YouTube videos, this thing could spit out a vast amount of information at you, and you might need to edit it a little bit, but it would be doing a lot of work for you, a lot of the groundwork for you, research-wise, and then you could just edit it and then you could put it out. And I think there is other AI suites out there, AI programs that even do image creation and video creation, if I am not mistaken. The investment could also catapult Microsoft as an AI leader and ultimately pave the way for the company to incorporate ChatGPT into some of its hallmark applications, such as Word, PowerPoint, and Outlook. And so they're definitely going to use this to strengthen their control on things in the tech space, for sure. Why wouldn't they if they're investing billions of dollars in it? It goes on to say, as a result of its existing exclusive deal with OpenAI, Microsoft recently said it would soon add ChatGPT features to its cloud computing services, Azure. If ChatGPT becomes available on that service, businesses could use the tools directly within its apps and services too. And I believe they already are, actually. I think that there's quite a few business people that are utilizing ChatGPT for emails, blog posts, etc. I know a friend of mine who runs a hot sauce company, actually, outside of London. He has been using this to help him write blog posts and kind of take the load off, so to speak, for him work-wise, as he can then focus more time and effort onto developing his sauces and being in the kitchen more, instead of having to write blog posts or hire somebody to do it. So again, this goes back to what I was saying before. You could potentially 10x your own potential work-wise. The investment comes days after Microsoft announced plans to lay off 10,000 employees as part of a broader cost-cutting measures. Nadella said at the time that the company will continue to invest in strategic areas of our future and pointed to advances in AI as a next major wave of computing, which I definitely think is true. And I think that this will have wide-reaching consequences, both good and bad, on pretty much every sector of business. As well as it will do interesting things for the cryptocurrency market. Because I said before, there are a few cryptocurrencies out there that are AI-based kind of protocols. I think Jarvis was one of the first ones it's kind of like this, actually, if I'm not mistaken. There's Cambria, there is Singularity, there's another cryptocurrency they actually have a patent, if I'm not mistaken, and that's for verifying NFTs. I think that's called, it's on Ori chain, if I'm not mistaken. I can't remember the name of it exactly, but there are a few cryptocurrencies which look to benefit from this kind of news, and as well as the development and investment of AI protocols. A bet on the future of AI. Since OpenAI opened up access to ChatGPT in late November, it has been used to write articles with more than a couple factual inaccuracies, which I've experienced myself. For at least one news publication penned lyrics in the style of various artists, one of whom later responded, "This song sucks," and drafted research paper abstracts that fooled some scientists. And I know, even when Jordan Peterson was commenting on this, he was saying that he used it to write, it was like a 4 or 5 page essay, which incorporated some of the things that he was saying in his book, 12 Rules for Life, the Bible, and another religious book, I think, associated to Buddhism. And he said that he was not entirely sure if he could tell whether or not it was him that wrote it or not. So it's a very powerful piece of technology, and it was just given pretty much to the public for free. I am almost positive it will be monetized. I think that this is we are on ChatGPT 3 right now, if I'm not mistaken, and I think the new iteration will be ChatGPT 4, which will be monetized. I've seen some things on the website associated to that. Goes on to say that some CEOs have already used the platform to write emails, of course, and to do some accounting work, which I didn't know that you could do. That's very interesting. I imagine you're probably going to be able to use it to write code as well, which will streamline the new cryptocurrency tokens that come out over the next couple of years. I wonder what that's going to have effect on in terms of security. OpenAI is also the company behind DALL-E, which generates a seemingly limitless range of images in response to user prompts. So that's the thing I was talking about that is similar to ChatGPT, which can make images. And I know that there's one for videos as well. I just can't remember the name of it. But there are some risks for Microsoft and OpenAI here. While these products have gained traction among users, they've also raised some concerns, including their potential to perpetuate biases and spread misinformation. I wonder what they mean by that, because we all know that the MSM likes to label anything that goes against their narratives as misinformation. So it's going to be interesting to see what they mean by that. At the same time, a growing number of schools and teachers are concerned about the immediate impact that this protocol could have on students and their ability to cheat on assignments, because they don't have to do any research anymore. They can just type in who is Edward the Great, who is Edward the Elder, who is Alfred the Great, if it's a history thing, or if it's even just writing like a blog or a piece of literature. They could just prompt ChatGPT to do that for them, and then they can finish their assignment, and without ever actually having to do the work. Again, like I was saying, creating a whole bunch of faux intellects that appear to be far smarter than they actually are, and to be far more capable than they are. This all reminds me of Dune, actually. In the story of Dune, if you don't know, early on within the history of human, before what you see in the later movies happening, humans give up their lives, their minds, they give them over to AI. And this subsequently makes them targets for people that control these machines to then take control of their lives and their minds. And this causes them to then redevelop their minds. You might know how the story goes. But initially, what it did was it destroyed people's ability to be effective, both from a competent standpoint as well as from a control of their own lives standpoint, which is, I think, what the bigger problem here is. People that will use this, again, will appear far smarter and more capable than they actually are. And that could potentially create much negative publicity for the companies associated with these tools, said David Lobina, an artificial intelligence analyst at ABI Research. I don't really know if there's really much negative publicity there. People these days don't seem to be affected by so-called negative publicity, especially when it comes to their speculative mind, the more investment-posed mind. Greed has been something that's been very much present in the markets, especially over the past 5 years. And so I think any publicity is going to be good publicity if you're in the investment sphere. Goes on to say the opportunity is immense. However, this could boost Microsoft's position in the growing arms race over artificial intelligence and provide a helpful boost to AI in the process. I don't like the term arms race because that suggests that it is a weapon. And I think it is definitely going to be a weapon, kind of like I was saying. How this reminds me of Dune. This kind of stuff could, and I think it will, eventually be used against people to control them, to manipulate them. You could have a bot farm that is just spitting out articles constantly just to build narratives online. We've already seen how most of the users on Twitter are bots. There is the dead internet theory, which gains a lot of traction, about how most of what we're seeing online is bots anyways, period. And I think this could actually strengthen that. And so, how do you build narratives online? Well, you create the narratives and then you get people to interact with them. You could even potentially have bots interacting with those falsely created narratives. And then this creates kind of like a growing effect where people pile in. And they don't even realize that the entire thing was crafted all by AI and being controlled by people who have a bias or perhaps some sort of underlying goal which is not necessarily benevolent in its nature. OpenAI is looking to monetize their systems. Like I was saying, that's going to happen. Considering the huge computational costs of creating these models, Lubina told CNN ahead of the announcement Monday, their partnership with Microsoft can be an easy way to do so, which is going to be the case. These tools, I think initially the whole initial release of it was a way to kind of test its functions and do it in a live environment, get people to use it for free. There's some small benefits for the average person, people using it to create their own blogs, write articles, script YouTube videos. I know that that's something that's been happening. I personally know people that have actually used it to script YouTube videos. And so I think it was a way to test it live and also gather more information, make it smarter, which is all kind of part of the narrative that I think, which is this will be used against people ultimately. Unless people can find a way to really control this and keep it democratized and decentralized. I think monetizing it won't be the best thing for that. If their goal is to be benevolent here, I think that monetizing it is a mistake. I think there's a better way to maybe do this, but I don't know. I think monetizing it is probably going to make it much more controlled and just with the way the article was talking about the potential ability to perpetuate biases and spread misinformation. That is an interesting thing for this article to be alluding to, because what do they consider as bias and misinformation? It was misinformation just a few years ago to say that there would be an implementation of health passes, and we found out that that was true. It was misinformation to say that the government was going to implement restrictive measures for people that were not up to date with their vaccines, and we saw that turned out to be misinformation in itself. And so the idea of what misinformation is, and it seems to be anything that goes against what the MSM narratives are. And so I'm a little concerned about what exactly that alludes to. And again, this is coupled with the whole idea of AI being able to craft narratives and being able to perpetuate and spread their own biases and misinformation. Like I was saying, you could have bot farms that are utilizing these kinds of tools to create articles, to create a whole narrative, and have other bots pile in on top of it, and then other people will obviously kind of pile in as well, because people are just attracted to that sort of group mentality, and it's very hard to tell who's who and who's not who online, and who's real and who's not. And I'm hoping that more tools like this come out, and maybe we even see a cryptocurrency based sort of tool that can come out, run on Ethereum, and be easily accessible to people, and basically just be free, so that everybody can use it, and we can kind of keep this very powerful, potentially dangerous tool decentralized. But I'm interested to see what you guys think about this. Do you think that this will be something that will be used against people? Do you think that ultimately it's a benevolent thing? Do you believe that it could perpetuate biases and misinformation, whatever side of the aisle you might be on that? Just let me know in the comment section below. If you enjoyed this video, please give me a like and comment. And if you want to see more of this content and me talk about these kinds of different news articles that are associated to cryptocurrency and the technology around it, you can consider subscribing. And I will see you guys in the next one. Until then, take care and have a nice day.